Good morning. My name is Drew Hebblethwaite, and today I'll be the moderator for the People's Party of Canada Get to Know the Nominees question and answer period. The goal of this event is to help engaged local members determine who they would like to be our official candidate for the federal election this year. I want to start by thanking the nominees for their time today, as well as acknowledge the hard work and commitment from the EDA board and volunteers for making this event happen. Today's question and answer period will follow a specific set of rules and guidelines to ensure each nominee gets a fair chance to speak and represent themselves. To start, each nominee will receive a maximum of 5 minutes to introduce themselves freely. Following the introductions, I will ask each nominee to take turns answering specific pre-generated questions with a time allotment of 3 minutes maximum per answer. Nominees will be signaled with a raised hand when they have only 15 seconds of time remaining and will be cut off if their time is exceeded. Finally, we ask that any audience members who came to support our nominees today remain quiet and avoid distracting the nominees with cheering or calling out to them while they are answering. So, today we will begin with an introduction from Ken Redden.
I'm Ken Redden. I'm from Vancouver originally. Been up here working in Suncor currently for the last 10 years, 11 years. Alberta's home for me now. I've never been a politician. I've followed politics and liked and disliked many of our leaders. And many of my values that I've thought of the last 15, 20, 30 years are very similar, if not spot on, with what Maxime Bernier is speaking of. We share the same beliefs and ideologies on how Canada should be run and should have been run for the last 50 years. So that's what got me here to this position, thinking that this is a great opportunity. Someone needs to step up, and it's a natural fit for me, and I hope Bernier wins in October, and I'd like to support him.
Thank you, Ken. Next, we'll have an introduction from Brian Hughes.
Hi, I'm Brian Hughes. I'm not a politician. I've never been a politician. I was asked about running for this position with the mess that Trudeau's made so far. I think of myself more of a realist. The difference between a politician and a realician, I don't know if that's a word, but we'll make it one. It's called Webster's. Tell him I did it. A politician tells you things that he thinks you want to hear. A realician, he tells you things he thinks. That's what I'm about. I'm not about telling people things that I think they want to hear. I'm more about telling people what I think. I stand behind Max Bernier and just about everything that he goes for. I like to think more of a new way of politician, a new way of doing politics. Politics has been something that hasn't changed in over 200-300 years, and if we keep going in the same route that we're going, we're going to end up in a big mess like our current government has got us now. I think that what Max stands for, as far as respect, fairness, equality, is what we need to stand for as a nation. I believe that Fort McMurray has gotten a bad rap for years. I shouldn't say politicians, media has bad rap Fort McMurray as this dirty oil, drug-loving place, which Fort McMurray is anything but. So I plan on getting the media involved, even going as far as closing down airspace if we have to stop celebrities from flying over and getting a bad rap. We'll close that airspace, get them, if they want to go and see it, we'll go show them, but we'll show them everything that's going on, not just what the bad people, I don't want to say bad people, I don't know what you call them. They're not bad people, they're just uneducated, I guess, in the area of the oil sands. That's really what I stand for. I've been married for over 25 years. I have 2 wonderful kids, three great grandchildren. I'm Brian Hughes. The pipeline starts here.
Thank you, Brian. Matthew.
Hi, I'm Matthew Barrett. Any introduction for this kind of position, especially the gravity it faces bringing yourself to Ottawa, representing a whole riding, one of the biggest ridings in Canada geographically. You need to know, I guess, a lot about who the person is intrinsically and what they've done. So I was looking through the list we received last night from all the members in the EDA, and I only know about 2 or 3 names in the whole list. So I guess I need to actually eloquently put why I'm the best candidate. So who am I? Well, the quick biopic is pretty fun to talk about. I'm a dad, I'm a husband. I've worked here since 2007 and lived here, own a home here. I know the ups and downs of this town, the jobs. That's the basic side. Who I am for this, I say I'm full of PS, not BS, PS. So I am an eloquent public speaker, which is necessary in this position. I'm very deliberate, concise, articulate, intentional when I speak to people, which is very important in a world of social media that can be lost. Politicians can easily misconstrue what you say if you're very loose with how you speak and what you say. I will keep the integrity high in anything I'm speaking with the public, to the media, even in my personal life. I'm a proven problem solver, and that was evident in my career with CUPE, where I was an executive. Even in small organizations where I've worked, I've been tasked with, when a problem is faced, they come to me. That is evident with United Way. They needed to increase revenue, which I doubled. With CUPE, they needed to increase involvement. They needed to solve a problem with their community peace officer program. They were trying to cancel it. That was the problem, and I needed to essentially keep the jobs here. All throughout my career, I've been solving problems. And I also say that I'm a genuine public servant, and I think that's necessary in the political arena, not just from a platitude perspective. To publicly serve, it means you're in the eye of the public, so you have scrutiny, which I've had my whole life, well, my whole adult life. I guess as a child too, because my parents were watching me. So I've had public scrutiny, and I've been a servant. I've been a servant since about 16 years old, working with youth. I was involved with the homeless here for 2 or 3 years. I've served in my church for about 10, and that's anywhere from big serving to musical directing on my own time to lifting things. Now, what have I done? I believe I may be the only candidate up here who has ran a successful campaign. I did so with no help whatsoever. I started in an area where I had no support, no knowledge of people, nothing. And as a bus driver, I would get dressed after my shift from my bus driving uniform into nicer clothes and start campaigning. Any place from secure city buildings to the public to making my own signs. I garnered double support than any other candidate before in CUPE, and I won that election. I will do it again, especially this time with the incredible team that I have here. I can't imagine how exciting it would be to have a team behind me pushing me forward and just letting me do what I do best, which is talk to people, which is not even the hard part for me. I couldn't do what they do, so I need a team. Fort McMurray is almost low-hanging fruit when it comes to the policies. I believe this isn't a riding we can win. We will win. And I would love to be the man that you honor to send to Ottawa for you. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our nominees for those introductions. All right, we will launch straight into question 1. What attracted you to the People's Party of Canada, and why do you think it is the best political party for Canadians? We'll start this question with Brian.
Okay, why the PPC? PPC is a new type of politics. As I said in the beginning, it's to me it's more about a realistic approach. What the party plans on doing is changing the way we run our country. And the way the country has been run for the past 200 years or So it's not working. Okay, we can see it's not working. We throw more money out of our country than we keep in it. I look at it as if you had $10 and your kids were starving, would you take that $10 and feed your kids, or would you take that $10, give it to your neighbor's kids that are starving, plus borrow another $5 to give to your neighbor, or would you feed your own kids? We need to start taking care of Canada. Once Canada is budget-free and successful, we can help other nations. I have no problem with helping other nations, but we need to take care of our own first. The other part of special groups, we can't be catering to special groups, letting special groups decide what they're going to do based on their vote. Your vote, you get one vote as a Canadian, you get one kickback as a Canadian. That's the way it's got to be run, and that, to me, that's the only way it can be run.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Ken. Same question. Did you need me to repeat it?
Sure.
What attracted you to the People's Party of Canada, and why do you think it is the best political party for Canadians?
I think initially what attracted me was the platform, and what I like in the platform is pretty much everything in the platform unites Canada instead of divides it. And we've been divided for a long time between the provinces, between the different sectors, and the strength. That's our strength as Canadians, is to be united and to be able to trade from one province to another instead of having all these tariffs and roadblocks and barriers within our own country. We need to simplify things, and I think Bernie's platform does that by making less litigation, smaller government, essentially, and having streamlining processes to make things easier for the people. Lowering our taxes, which is great, making things easier for business by lowering their taxes and giving them incentives to develop the have-not provinces, because right now their incentive is to sit back and do nothing and allow Alberta to pay for everything. By giving them incentives to develop those industries and infrastructures, it'll make us all stronger.
Thank you very much. And last we'll hear from Matthew. Did you need me to repeat the question?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Okay.
I think this is an easy one. I remember the day. It was an exciting day, the most exciting day in Canadian politics, to my recent memory, when Maxime Bernier stood on a platform and said the CPC has become too morally and intellectually corrupt to be reformed, and he's starting a new party. I have never been excited about Canadian politics. I've either been relieved or upset. That's apathy, and it's terrible emotions to be going through for how your country is ran. Excitement, that's what I'm aiming for, and that's what Maxime Bernier is doing. So I have been conservative by default my whole life. I had never woken up after an election and been excited about who got in. I was only relieved. When I saw that he was running and that we could actually have a politician with the integrity and the gusto to actually come out and start a new party, which in and of itself shows that he wasn't a sore loser. A sore loser would take his MP position on the backbench and do absolutely nothing. That's the path of least resistance. Starting a new party shows that he is a winner. He has a winner mindset. I love how he speaks. I love little nuances that some people may have not have caught on to. The fact he says, I don't know. That is huge. For a politician to answer a question and say, I don't know yet, and we're willing to start the debate and talk about it, instead of having a false platitude, which you'll see from all the other leaders. It's the best party because his four values, if you want to call them values, individual responsibility, personal freedom, respect, and fairness. They don't mean much in and of themselves. We can all say things like this. But every platform that comes out, the 5 we have now, he ties in all of these ideals into a tangible sense. He makes sense. It actually aligns with what he's saying. They're not platitudes. They're not ideologies that are far removed from reality. He's exciting to watch. He has moxie. He has charisma. I've just never been excited about Canadian politics, and I believe that with the right candidates, we can get all of Canada excited with Maxime and actually change the country for the better. It's a change this country is needed. Like Ken said, last 50 years or whatever it is, arbitrarily number, whatever it is, it's not been ran efficiently. So I'm behind Max, unapologetically. I'll be voting that way. I believe that any Canadian that reads our platform will see that it's the best for the country, it's the best for this nation, it's the best for every individual province, it's the best for every individual, and that alone it speaks volumes that he actually cares. He's a nationalist. So I support Maxime.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Just before we start the next question, can each of the candidates please just move their microphones a little bit closer to them? We just want to make sure we're picking up your voice for the camera so that people at home can watch this later and hear you. Thank you. All right, question number 2. Let's have Matthew Barrett answer this one first. The Fort McMurray-Cold Lake electoral district is the largest federal district by square kilometers in Alberta. What strategy would you use to connect with voters, especially ones that don't live in Fort McMurray?
So this is the barrier I talk to my wife about almost every day, because we have an internal nomination called the primaries or whatever you use to the terminology, and working 14 and 7. And not having any campaign money, any party money, to get to Cold Lake, Slave Lake, Fort Chip, any of these places, is beyond my financial means, even logistically, with the time restraints that I have. Moving forward, if I were to be chosen as the candidate, I would certainly use more of my own money starting off to even do personal trips there. And I wouldn't be against anything from as low as setting up a table in a mall, anything at all, just to have myself sit down and meet with people. My first plan is to engage with all the voters that are registered with the party from Cold Lake, because I think there's about 68 or 38, I think I counted last night. So to actually rally them together and see if they can come up with a venue, because they know their town better than I do. And if the venue is set up, I will do everything in my power to meet with them in Cold Lake. Now, I know there's other communities throughout the whole district. Logistically, it's just not feasible. And again, this is where I think you just can't be telling people their lip service. I can't get to every town. It's not possible. But I hope that I can get to 2 or 3 in any small venue whatsoever and have an open forum. Let them tell me what their issues are. I'm not going to go to Cold Lake and tell them what their issues are. I don't know. I don't know the full scope of Fort McMurray, because I'm just one person. I have my own biases. I have my own, framework of what this community is. So I would hope that with mass emails to certain demographic locations within, or geographic locations within our riding, that someone would take the initiative to set up an event, and I would certainly attend. And moving forward as an MP, I would just give my personal word that you're the constituency. I will divide my time evenly. Any time that I'm not in the House of Commons, I'm working for you in the area. So if you have an event, if you have a problem, you want a phone call, I'm here for you.
Thank you very much. I will have the same question to Brian. Did you need me to repeat it?
Please.
The Fort McMurray-Cold Lake electoral district is the largest federal district by square kilometers in Alberta. What strategy would you use to connect with voters, especially ones that don't live in Fort McMurray?
It's an extremely large area. To try and get in contact with everybody in the area by yourself, you just wouldn't do it. I would pick out people that I trusted, that understood what I was looking for, and I would get them to help me to get to those areas. I would go to as many of the areas as I possibly could, But with that many square kilometers, there's no one person that would cover that. I would use social media as much as I could. I'm not a social media wizard by any stretch of the imagination. But again, I would get the people behind me that know how to do that and use them to my advantage to get in contact with everybody in the area as much as we can. It's a time now where everything is immediate. Information can travel from one place to another immediately. It's not what it was even 20 years ago when it took time to travel. I can say something here today and it can be repeated in Australia in about 2 seconds. So the social media would be the route, and hold forums such as this and have live feeds. So if I couldn't be in Cold Lake or Lac La Biche or Bonnyville or Fort Chip or Fort Mackay or whatever the case may be, I'll speak to people through social media and through webcams.
Thank you very much. All right, same question for you, Ken. Did you need me to repeat it?
Oh, that's fine.
Perfect, thank you.
For the large area, I would definitely want to make it to Fort Chip once as a candidate, and Cold Lake, and maybe a couple smaller stops along the way to Cold Lake, and do one good road tour of the province. To go any further in the north there for other besides Fort Chip would be very difficult. I know people there. I work with people from there, and it's a place I wanted to visit anyways. Even before I nominated as a candidate, I wanted to go there this summer. So it'll be a good opportunity to see the community and to meet them one-on-one. I hear they got some good bed and breakfast up there. So basically a very similar setup to what we had in the trade show. We have the banner and a table, and setting up in a community area in each of the areas. I think that would be a good way to start one-on-one conversations. Knocking on doors within Fort McMurray is definitely something I'll be doing. And hopefully do a little bit of that in Cold Lake as time persists. I work a 5-5-4 shift, and getting closer to the fall election, I've already talked to supervision, and I'm arranging to take a six-week leave if needed to commit time for that purpose, to go out and campaign. It's something I look forward to, and going out and talking to people, because that's where you get the real pulse on what's going on, what people want to see, and with all these emails and stuff, that they're great, they're good to get out, but people remember shaking somebody's hand and having a 2-minute conversation more than a blast of social media stuff. I think both are required, not just the social media.
Thank you very much, Ken. Question 3. This time we will begin with Brian Hughes. What element of the People's Party of Canada platform do you feel most strongly about? And are there any elements of the platform you feel are less important?
I guess the one I feel strongest about is transfer payments. For so long we've been just doling out money to other provinces and not holding them accountable. I believe that everybody can have a bad day or a bad year, so to have another province take money from Alberta that's had a bad year, I don't think that's a bad thing. We are one country, and we need to help each other. But we need to hold those provinces accountable for what we're doing. Okay, so if we're giving one province $100 million this year, what are they going to do with it? And why are you not going to be coming back for another $100 million next year? How are you going to turn that $100 million into money for your own province, so next year you can help out another province? For too long, it's been one province doling out to all the other provinces. It's got to stop, and it's not going to make Canada any stronger by doing that. But I believe it is something that we do need to do to help other provinces that have had a bad year. Personally, everyone has had a bad year. Okay, I don't care who you are. Not every year has been great financially, and you've had troubles getting through it. And if you got help from the government somehow, that's great, and that's what it's for. That's what brings us all together as one party, one country. The platform that I feel the least strength against, and I don't feel that that it brings much to Canada is the gun reform. I want to make it clear about what I'm saying about this is 5 years to 10 years for gun registration. I don't see the reason behind it. Once you have your PAL, you should have it for life, right? There's security checks done every day on anyone that has a PAL. And when those security checks are done, if you come up with a criminal record, you lose your PAL immediately. So why even bother going to a 10-year? Why not just give it up altogether? The other part that many people may not agree with is Max wants to refund those that had losses during the gun registry. As a government, I think we should not go back and pay for past governments' errors in what they've done. I don't think we should be paying that. I think we're opening a huge door to other lawsuits, other groups coming forward and saying that the government did this to them or did that to them, and now they want money back as well. It's unfortunate what happened, and I have sympathy for those that lost guns that shouldn't have lost them. But to hold this government responsible, I don't think is fair.
Thank you very much. Same question to you, Ken. Did you need to read it?
Yeah, please.
What element of the People's Party of Canada platform do you feel most strongly about? And are there any elements of the platform that you feel are less important?
Yeah, I think the ability for Canada to lead itself, govern itself, has been lost due to international interests. You know, be it lobbyists, be it the UN, telling us who to bring into the country for refugees and when and how many. And if we want to have a country in the next few years, we need to be able to control our country. So I think that's the number one thing. This platform's great all across the board, but I think that probably the single most important thing is to start reining in and leading our country from within. We don't need some movie star or some UN group of nations with other interests to tell us how, when, and why to do things. Other things that are important to me that I enjoy with the platform would be just the simplicity of it, the fairness, the respect amongst people and to each other, and to hold ourselves up as Canadians to those standards. We don't need special interest groups controlling us, and I like the way Maxime Bernier responds to the questions on those matters. It's like we're all Canadians. And I think if that's where we have to go back to the grassroots and treat each other with those integral respect, integrity, and fairness. And that's if. Then from there we can start taking care of the smaller things as they come up. But I think that's a good place to start.
Thank you, Ken. Same question for you, Matthew. Do you need me to repeat it?
No, thank you. Well, first, let me make sure for the viewer that I'll make the distinction between a policy and platform, because we only currently have legitimately 5 platform issues: equalization, interprovincial trade barriers, supply management, the gun rights issue, and healthcare. So I'll stick to those 5. All 5 really I care about almost equally. There's some things in the policy stance that I don't. It's not I don't care about them. I don't know about them. I mean, how capital gains tax allowances affects business. I guess intimately, I don't know. I know from an accounting standpoint, but I don't know how it affects intimately. I'm not an incorporated business. So what do I really agree with the most from a platform perspective? It would have to be supply management, which ironically, it doesn't really affect us in Alberta that much. It's only 10% of farmers, mostly in Ontario and Quebec. The reason it's the most passionate issue in my mind is because it gets to the core of an issue of crony capitalism and crony politicians and buying off special interest groups, which I despise. I'm not against the farmers, so I'll differentiate between the politicians and the farmers. The farmers are just taking advantage and leveraging a government system that's given to them, any more than someone takes advantage of unemployment insurance or a politician takes advantage of entitlements. They're not the problem. It's the fact that the government has set up this system that is buying off one of the largest lobby groups in Canada. And I think that he has the audacity, the fortitude to take that on, shows integrity. So that's why it's an important issue. It's not just an important issue in and of itself. It's an important issue because it shows who Maxime is as a leader. Also, I guess laterally, I'm almost as passionate about as our healthcare issue. The fact that we have a monopoly on public service, our public delivery. We have the dubious distinction, like Maxine says, of being having the longest wait times in healthcare. So we have a lot in common with North Korea, which apparently sounds terrible, because that's the only other country that has a monopoly on healthcare. Every other developed country has a 2-tier system to some degree. The wait times are significantly less, if inexistent. It doesn't just help out the rich, while unfortunately, yes, the rich again get an added advantage, but that happens in life, from a balcony on a cruise ship to a better ticket at a rock concert to, yes, faster response time in our healthcare system. However, it actually gets the rich out of the queue. So, healthcare for everyone with 2-tier, and supply management getting rid of the corruption.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Question number 4. For the 4th question of the day, we will hear first from Ken Redden. Many Conservative voters might be afraid to support the People's Party of Canada because they are concerned that it will split the right of centre vote, resulting in another Liberal government. How would you address that concern?
There's a lot of my friends are Conservatives, and they confront me with this question or that concern, and you got to vote with what do you believe in and where you're standing, and with the direction of the current PC government, it's just the same as giving Trudeau a vote in itself. Andrew Scheer and Justin Trudeau are very much aligned in the direction they want to go. Andrew Scheer with his pipeline corridor, going through that process will take years, 4, 5, 6, 7 years to see a pipeline coming from here to the coast, any tidewater. We need that. We need a stronger government, and sadly the Conservative government does not focus and have direction, or they don't have a plan, and he asked the Andrew Scheer question, he's going to redirect it and get back to you. He doesn't have an opinion, and they're afraid to speak, it seems, and we need some strong leadership that will get us to where we want to go as a country, and the pipeline is just one item.
Thank you very much, Ken. Same question to you, Matthew.
Isn't this the doozy? This is the uphill battle, the vote split. I love talking about this issue because I poignantly first want to define what we're talking about here. It's not a split of just votes, because that happens in every democratic society. We don't unanimously vote for one person. That would be highly suspect of corruption. So we're talking about a conservative vote split, which in itself implies there's two conservative parties. I posed a question, what's the other one? There's a Liberal Party, there's an NDP party, a Green Party, an Independent, and in the mouth of babes from Andrew Scheer, there's a centrist pragmatic Party of Canada. So there's only one Conservative Party. So the only vote splitting happening is between Liberals and the Conservatives, the CPC Conservatives. We're not splitting any vote. Any conservative values are found in our party and our party alone. I even said a very far-fetched example to my brother-in-law, and I said, by some act of undemocratic tyranny, Andrew Scheer was handed the mantle today, just handed it to him. Besides for optics, platitudes, lip service, what would actually change that next day? Nothing. There's nothing that he said to hold himself accountable to change from Justin Trudeau. Yeah, he wouldn't make such stupid comments, we hope, or his socks would be different, and he wouldn't dance at parties. But that's it. He's already gotten soft on his own promise of balancing a budget in 2 years. He's now 5. That's conveniently 1 year into his next term. It's not a conservative government. So for vote splitting, I say, yes, you're right. There's going to be a vote split. We're going to accept disenfranchised NDP. We're going to accept people who feel left behind from a freight train headed into the far left, and we're going to accept betrayed CPC, dogmatic, if you will, voters. We're actually going to, I've heard it said, I didn't coin it, but I've heard it said, we're consolidating a vote. And I'm very excited about it. I actually think we have a majority, because 52% in February of 2019 said, we are looking for a different party. What party is that? It's not going to be Libs going to cons or vice versa. Hockey fans don't go back and forth between Montreal Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leafs. They diabolically hate each other. They're going to go for another team. Libs are not going to go for cons. Cons are not going to go for Libs. There is now a new party that they can identify with, the PPC. So we're taking the vote. We're consolidating it, not splitting it.
Thank you very much. Same question for you, Brian. Do you need me to repeat it?
No, I'm good. This is one that I've talked many times with many people about, and I have two approaches to this. The first one being, if you know the platform of the Liberals, the Conservatives, and the People's Party of Canada, who would you vote for? Generally, people, when they know what the policies are for the People's Party of Canada, they say they would vote for the People's Party of Canada, but they don't want Trudeau to get in. They're going to split the vote. Well, everybody goes on people's opinions. So I tell people, okay, if you would vote for the People's Party of Canada, why don't you tell people you would vote for the People's Party of Canada? Because once the poll starts to show that the People's Party of Canada is becoming stronger and stronger, more people get on that boat. The more people that get on that boat, the more people that start voting for the People's Party of Canada. And when we get to election time and the People's Party of Canada has 60 or 70% of the vote, you can say you're the one that started that ride. You're the one that turned this around for Canada. The other thing I say is about vote splitting is, to hell with vote splitting. Let's just take them all and win this election.
Thank you. Question number 5. I'm going to direct this question to Matthew Barrett first. If you are elected as a member of Parliament, what strengths, skills, or achievements would you bring to the table?
I touched on a bit of it in the opening. My ability to publicly speak. I have publicly served before. I've held office under scrutiny before. I don't even know what's actually entailed in being a member of Parliament, even with extensive research. It's such a disparity in what good ones do to bad ones do. I don't even know what their actual job description is. I know what I feel it is, what I think it is. I'm representing people. To do that, you have to be free of agenda. You have to have an integrity so that you are not bringing something forward that is just your concern, your ambition. That integrity, through any personal reference of mine, is throughout my life. I don't have an agenda. Of course I have my own agenda in my own home or whatever, but when I'm given a position, when I'm entrusted, I will hold people above myself. And that's even from a biblical worldview, which I know people don't even care about sometimes, but to to serve others above myself, to prefer others above myself, is something I take seriously. It's not just some rhetoric that I use, it's seen in my life. If I was a member of Parliament, I believe I would actually engage with everyone and hear everyone and bring forward the most fair issues to Ottawa. I would do it unapologetically, even if it disagree with Maxime, which again is a unique anomaly amongst any other leader, because he actually encourages us bringing things that disagree with him, as long as the constituency is behind it. I'm decent on videos and social media, so I'll be maintaining a video log of my life from founding member to Parliament and beyond. I hope to engage all of the country with that. Letting them see what it's like to get ready to go to Parliament, what it's like to have your first day on the job, what it's like to be defeated, to win, whatever it is. Just showing people what actually is involved in being a member of Parliament. It's not a secret society. It's not a hidden agenda. Allowing the people who voted you in to be part of it. And like I said before, I've been in public office. I've held it with high integrity, and I worked longer hours. I serve, and I would continue to serve, and I would love this community and love on people and serve it to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Matthew. Same question to you, Brian. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I'm good. Thanks. What would I do? That's a good question. I have no idea. Like I said, I'm not a politician. I'm a realician. Basically, about running in politics, I think it's about running for the people, the area, the province, the country. I would listen to what the people have to say, because it's the people that run this. So I would take it with whatever they want. You know, what do you want me to do? Put something together that you want, and let's put it to the people and see what the people want from that. As far as what I'm going to do in Ottawa, I can't even answer that question because I have no idea. Like I said, I've never been involved in politics before. But I want to do what's best for my country, my province, and our area. I think our area needs a boost to be taken away from what's the bad things that have been said about our area. This is a wonderful place to live. The people here have come from all over the country to get together. And these people need one person that will stand behind them. I really can't answer more than that.
Thank you, Brian. Same question for you, Ken. Would you like me to repeat it?
Oh, no, it's okay. Well, what would I do? I guess I'd be the voice in Ottawa for the McMurray-Cold Lake riding. That's what it comes down to. And I'd have an office. I'd set up an office in Port McMurray. This is my home. And I'd have an open ear. I'm a good listener. I would support real causes and bring the concerns to the local riding to Ottawa. And hopefully along the ways, is depending on who's leading, would help be in the process to maybe reversing some of these laws that have been made. And I know that's part of one of the roles of the MP, is to be part of making laws, and I think it'll be a large learning curve for me. I've been in business. I've been in many different industries and many different positions. I've never been afraid of anything, taking anything on. It'll be a good change, and hopefully I built bring the concerns to the local riding to Ottawa, and have our back. It's one thing we haven't had in this area, is have anybody with our back in the media and in government, provincially or federally. So I'd like to be part of that change.
Thank you, Ken. Question 6. Brian Hughes will be the first to answer this question. We live in the age of social media, where one wrong post can mean the end of a political career. What social media tools do you intend to use to communicate with voters, and how will you manage those tools?
The social media that I plan on using will be from our group. I can't tell you whether I would use Facebook, Twitter, Fast Chat, or something. I don't even know what they're called. But I don't know which one I'd use. So I would go to our party, and I would look at our party and say, what area do we want to use? Yes, Trump uses Twitter. I don't know if that's the right answer. I can't tell you what I would use, because personally I don't use social media right now. It'd be a learning curve for me to pick up on how it works. I think I've had 2 posts in my life on Facebook. I don't remember the first one was, but the second one was when my son said he was pregnant, or he wasn't pregnant, his wife was pregnant. I said twins. He didn't like that, but that's as far as my social media goes. I guess I'm going to rely on my party. I'm going to rely on my team to do that, because that is not my strength, for sure. My strength is being real with people. It is not about social media. I would rely on my team, because Lord knows there's a lot of people out there that are very talented with social media and that level. So I would use them to do it.
Thank you very much. Same question to you, Ken. Would you like me to repeat it?
Sure.
We live in the age of social media where one wrong post can mean the end of a political career. What social media tools do you intend to use to communicate with voters, and how will you manage those tools?
I've been pretty good with not causing too much chaos on Facebook or any other social media. With as far as controversy goes, I've managed to stay out of